Howdy boys and girls, welcome to the Draft Brewery. This is Dr. Chris Baker DC with Dimir Mill post Journey into Nyx. I was able to make a couple revisions to the deck since the Gauntlet is still going on and these cards are out, so I kind of want to do a quick deck tech, go over what my deck is, what its plan is, what the sideboard's for, and then we'll jump right into round 5 of the Gauntlet, which I have not watched yet. So that's going to be a little bit different, so I can get some nice viewing action going without spoiling it. Alright, so we have 4 Guildgate, 10 Island, 10 Swamp Mana base. Standard Pauper I usually don't like to play a lot of lands since they're pretty dead. Top decks in a lot of the games come down to not flooding, but this deck really wants to hit its land drops to be able to do more than one thing in one turn, and you'll see we can scry extra lands away pretty easily. With our new addition, Sigiled Starfish, tested with him a little bit. You don't need 4. He's good at blocking a lot of 2-power guys and making sure that you're drawing exactly what you need the whole game, but he's not worth cutting anything else in this deck to add the 4th. We have a nice anti-creature package, the 4 Freakus Cure, 4 Essence Scatter, 4 Devour Flesh. Cheap, perfect, they've been around for forever now. Preferred Plans is really the glue that holds this deck together. Mills them, it draws cards, it's just better than Divination, not quite as good as Read the Bones, but the incidental milling helps when we have cards like Crypt Incursion in the deck, when we want to, stop their creatures from coming back with the new black font. It's pretty relevant, and just to gain an absurd amount of life against any deck trying to attack you usually steals it. If you can land a Crypt Incursion for 30 or more life. Psychic Strike, again, pretty much staple of the deck. This card's really important in the mirror because if you can be the one that gets the last word in with this Psychic Strike, then you're usually going to be ahead on cards when you're looking at cards in library. A lot of other decks will run Cancel in addition to this. I don't really like going counterspell heavy when there's so many fast decks out there. You ended up boarding them out a lot. It's possible more counterspells like Cancel could be in the sideboard, but I don't really think control matchups are that much of a problem. Other cards that are a little different, I shaved a couple Balustrades by. They're just good because they can block Death Cult Rogue, and they can attack and win a game in the air after you just kill all their creatures. Sometimes you can't kill them fast enough with Archaeomancer before you deck or they deck. And it's pretty important, I think, that this Dimir Mill deck has alternate win cons now, other than just milling them. Because decks like the Bug Defender deck can mill you faster if they can protect their Doorkeepers, so we're just a little too slow against the dirtiest of decks. Archaeomancer he's the man. Basically finds whatever answer you want. Usually getting back Pilfered Plans is my preferred poison, but he can help get back any of these sideboard cards that are instants too, and he's just the glue. He's pretty much the stones. Spectacle the same way. We get to basically Doomblade anything in mill, which is relevant. This is a little bit of a deviation. I kept finding Thassa's Bounty was too expensive. You don't want multiples stuck in your hand. You often can't cast it even when you get to 6 mana because you'll get blown out because now you let them resolve creatures in the face of Essence Scatter or multiple creatures in the face of Devour Flesh, and you can't target their important creature anymore. Because a lot of the important creatures are the ones being loaded up on all the heroic stuff. and then they just protect it with God's Willing, and now Grizzly Spectacle, doesn't do anything. So you still want this card to get ahead of on cards, but you don't need it that much. So the deck's basic game plan is to just not lose. You really, in almost every matchup, just want to kill as many guys as possible, stop them from recurring their creatures if they can, because you're going to run out of answers if they can use the black font. Try to figure out, if you clear their board, get some Squire, Archaeomancer, and Balustrade Spy beats in if you can, but sideboard, let's see. A lot of interesting cards. The 4 new ones, Easy, Feast of Dreams. I think, at least for the Gauntlet, random decks are going to really be wanting to play more enchantments than usual, and this card just crushes them. Because it lets you kill things like Wingsteed Rider after they put Ethereal Armor on it. It's just insane. So it's another 2-drop, which is really good for this deck because it allows it to get to the late game. So that's obviously very good against all the enchantment-based decks and bestow creatures. Definitely want Dispel against really other decks that are packing Psychic Strike. We don't really care about too many other instants. Just other control, decks that are rocking counter spells. Cremate, we've already kind of talked about this with Beckon Apparition. You need to stop Archaeomancer and Auramancer from gaining a lot of value. There's a bit of a creature package here that kind of all goes together, and that's Servant of Timuret, the Balustrade Spy, and then even Altar's Reap and March of the Returned. So some cards are really bad against us, but some cards we can't deal with. Like Razor Tip Whip was classically a problem because if we only tried to mill them, we couldn't gain life. So I found that Servant is the perfect answer to Razor Tip Whip against decks that just try to beat us go creatureless pretty much. So that allows us to gain life and put some more pressure on them. When we bring in those creatures and the Balustrade Spy, we can now bring in the March of the Returned and have, obviously March of the Returned gets 2 guys back. You can loop it with Archaeomancer so that basically you never run out of cards, and hopefully, if they don't have the graveyard removal, you're going to be able to go long. It's also really good when you're playing against a mill deck and they're milling you, then you can potentially create value off of it. And a lot of them, will sport some type of cremate effect against us too, to stop the Archaeomancer, which can have some collateral damage, but they don't always have it, so it's still worth including, I believe. We also make our deck, or at least our main deck, is kind of bad against Stab Wound. I don't think Stab Wound's particularly good in the format, but we do have 5 creatures that just get crushed by it. We usually can just Freakish Cure our guy, Devour Flesh ourselves, Psychic or Grizzly Spectacle ourselves if need be. But I like being able to have 1 Altar's Reap again, just to have a way to get ahead on cards, deal with things like Stab Wound or Pacifism or something, and that fuels into the loop of, let's say we had all 4 Archaeomancer in play, they all had Pacifism on them. We can't really break that chain. If we go Altar's Reap into, March of the Return, we can kind of get the chain going again and get a hit on some cards. So I like it for that. I kind of messed up. I think I should have at least 1 Voyage's End in the main deck, because that also lets you go Perpetual with Archaeomancer for infinite blockers, and that scries every turn too. So it's possible. I should probably cut this 3rd Starfish. 2 is pretty good. If you ever play 3 within the first 4 turns of the game, they don't really help that much because you're going to want to keep cards on top of your deck. So thinking better would be to get a Voyage's End on top. But last card here is Shrivel. Shrivel is, again, just really good against decks that Try to play a lot of X1s. All of our removal spells can't deal with multiple creatures, so it's a nice way to get some card advantage. So that's basically my deck. It's really slow. Really takes a little bit of skill on when to use your spells. I typically always want to play Pilfered Plans like on turn 3 and just like get ahead on cards as fast as possible, get it back with Archaeomancer, and then deal with things as they come. In the early game, you know, just killing some of the guys with Flesh and Cure are the way to go. And then for their big impact threats, or when you want to be holding open, like Scatter, Strike, and Grisly Spectacle. So let's just dive right in and see how our deck does. So we've got right here fired up. We got Brennan muted, so I'm not even going to listen to what he says, but his commentary is usually fantastic. Alright, here we go. Let's pause real quick. Okay, we're playing someone I do not know. And, whoa, something to keep in mind. This is a really long video. So, if only get 30 minutes of time and then like maybe like 5-6 minutes of sideboarding, that's gotta be good for us. Like, if the games are going that long, we must be doing something right. We're at least not dying. Whoa. That's something that Brennan just loves to do, is like tilt off and mulligan like super aggressively, but it didn't look like we ever had more than one land, so it's probably fine. And this 4-card hand, drawing a Starfish and having Pilfered Plans seems perfect. Okay, so we're setting a stop on our turn in preparation for scrying on upkeep, which is pretty much like drawing a card. Island Starfish, okay. Next turn is likely going to be, you know, if our Starfish survives, like a Devour Flash, we're probably playing against Mono Black. It does not, okay. Next turn is definitely Swamp Pilfered Plans, and let's try to get ahead. Okay, well, at least the opponent didn't have Read the Bones or Archaeomancer. Ooh, that's interesting. We still want to Pilfered Plans here, but unless we hit Island, we can't get it back. Get the Pilfered Plans back, so we'll be delayed one turn. But then we'll be able to hold open Psychic Strike. Ooh. What? Oh, I was like, our opponent discarded a swamp? No. They milled 2. They milled Freakus Cure Swamp, and they played no land drop, so they're stuck. Oh. They are playing blue. Interesting. This might be a mirror. They've only played cards that we also have in our deck. So I definitely like running out Archaeomancer here, since he likely has potentially Essence Scatter mana open next turn. Archaeomancer's pretty good here. It might get like Devour Flash or Freakus Cured, but it's like good protection against Devour Flash if we land like a Balustrade Spy. Ooh, interesting. I've actually played with Return Centaur before. Yeah, he's reading it and being like, what? Okay, so we're definitely playing a mirror, but this guy's got creatures. He hits 3 lands and a Thassa's Bounty. We actually could have used those lands. See, that's why I like having a high land count. Because the more lands we hit, we get to like Pilfered Plan and leave open Psychic Strike, or we get to... See right here, he's tapped out of blue. I would definitely Pilfered Plans. Oh, we still got the stop set on the upkeep. That was confusing. I thought we already drew a card. So we drew a land. Okay, got rid of that stop. Yeah, it's still, to me, we want to hit our next land drop next turn really badly, and our opponent can't counter right now. Ugh. Like, in my opinion, you have to Pilfer Plains there. You have to get ahead on cards. You have to hit your land drops. See, like, basically the guy is doing what we should be doing. Read the Bones is even better than Pilfered Plans. Classically, you didn't want Read the Bones in, like, this Dimir Mill mirror. Because you drawing cards, let's start keeping track of our library. Right now we have library advantage if, we don't die to this 2-4 and the game just gets drawn out. He's going to mill himself out first. So, see, I don't like this. The problem is that he has Psychic Strike open. So you're asking to get this countered, and then what are you going to do? Quiz Spectacle at next turn? This 2-4 is not relevant. It's not going to kill us in the long game. It is if you run out of threats and answers. Oh, Voyage's End. Jeez. That's actually worse than Psychic Strike. Jeez. Because he gets to re-hit us on a mill 4, and he counterspelled that, and he scribed. That was so much value. So already this deck... What are you doing? No! Come on, man. You have to play Pilfered Plains. If you don't get ahead. Look, you can pay 3, Pilfered Plains, hit a land, and then leave up in Psychic Strike. You're just... Look, you can't do anything else other than counter once. He could run negate. I don't think it's likely, but if he does, you just get blown out. Like, it's really inefficient use of mana for the turn. He does. That's actually really weird. Negate is good. I think it is good in the format in general right now because it stops all the bestow auras and there's a lot of powerful spells. Alright. So we mill. Oof. See, we mill Pilfered Plain land. Like, those 2 cards are great. We should have had those in our hand. Anyway, Devour Flesh, kill this guy. Might as well just do it now. Don't click through the end step. Okay. Alright, so rechecking the library count. We are now down 2 cards in library because of that Bastard's Fight, and he still has a Return Centaur in hand. So he's going to get us for 4 more. And this is kind of interesting too because I had 1 Tome Scour main for the mirror in my previous build of this for the Gauntlet. I had 2 more Tomb Scours in the sideboard too, just just to be able to crush, the Mill-Mir matchup. But I've kind of taken in favor now. I don't think the mirror is that popular. It's not showing up very much, so I think it's more important to have the creature package to deal with Razor Tip Web, and like, you shouldn't have problems with the mirror when you like side in the creature package, because a lot of the players should side out like most of their removal, and so maybe they get left with like Grizzly Spectacle or whatever. But other than that, you should be able to like cycle through. I don't know about putting that on bottom. Alright, here you just Thassa's Bounty. Like, you're never going to have another chance to cast it. That's really bad. We're not killing him with Archaeomancer. There's just not a chance. So doing this like main phase and making sure the 2/4 dies, we are never dying to a 2/4. We have Scryfish. What does Scryfish do, you ask? He blocks 2-power guys on the ground like all day. And that's not all. That is not all. He lets you draw perfect the whole rest of the game. You have to get really unlucky to not draw perfect with him. We're just getting Bastard Spy, Sigiled Starfish, Essence Scatter, Swamp Milled. We could have had the Spy, the Starfish, and the Scatter in hand if we played Thassa's Bounty. And then he would have resolved these 2 spells anyway. So see what I mean? Like, oh my god. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spells. Okay, he would have... It would have been much less. Dude, that was 7. And he milled 4 before. We Thassa's Bounty. We draw 3. We have a land on top. He mills 4, so that land plus 3 more go. And then he spies us. And then instead of 7, hits us for like, 4 more. So we'd be sitting here with 4 cards in hand, not 2. Yeah, Freakish Gear bottom that. Good. I also do not understand scrying on upkeep in a situation when it's now pretty important to block the 2/4. We are like losing this race. We're like dead in 6 attacks. Alright, so we Pilfer Plans, draws, Devour Flesh. Devour Flesh is not very good here. Like, I don't know why he goes Pilfer Plans into whatever. You're just never going to resolve this Thassa's Bounty, because eventually our opponent's going to draw into counter spells and just hold them. And just hold them open, and we're never going to get card advantage. So, like, I think that turn where you didn't Thassa's Bounty to start is where things got bad. Because, we could have Essence Scatter in hand right now. That would be one of the 3 cards in hand. It would have been Scatter, Starfish, and I don't know, forget what the other one was. But like, this Arcanomancer resolving, I have no idea how we win this game now. He gets back Read the Bones. Yeah, so he's just like up millions of cards on us. And we can't deal with this 2/3 fire right away. Yeah, like, there's just no point in Devour Flashing and Pilfer Plans in the last turn. Like, we need to hit this Thassa's Bounty. So that's just... Yeah, Devour Flesh is awful again. The problem is that you actually, like, let's say there's another Devour Flesh underneath it. Number 3 or 4 or whatever. Combined, they're good. This one kills Squire. Okay, wow, okay, just right into Psychic Strike mana. This gets countered, we're just like auto-lost this game. Yep. Wow. We have no chance of winning. We're down 18 to 33 now in cards in library. So we cannot, it's like not possible for us to mill him out faster than he can mill us out. He has so many top decks, whatever, out there to just like mill us. And then our card draw is working against us now too. Jeez. Okay, that's always like the best draw. Yeah, it gets back Psychic Strike and we're locked. Yep. Okay, I think I've seen enough. I'm going to start skipping ahead because this game's over. Psychic Strike, what are you going to do? Top. Draw Psychic Strike, say go. You going to counter that? See, it doesn't matter. He can draw as many cards as he wants. He has his own. We know he has his own strike. Like, he's the reason why we can't win this game is because we're not ahead on cards. Our opponent has more cards than us. So even though, you know, us drawing cards mills us, you know, we're milling him at the same time if we resolve that fastest bounty immediately when he's tapped out. But it's just, we have things to do. We can answer, we can counterspell his creatures that are milling us. We can play our own. You know, we have Scryfish going for a long time. Eventually, we just put, I mean, we already have enough lands. So while he's going to start top decking these lands, we have more spells than him. Our spells answer his spells, and we just have more. And we probably win the game through damage. Literally from Arcane-Lancer and Spy. So like he's holding up in Essence Scatter here even. But he doesn't have it. Okay. Still, we're not in business. Business hours are over. This game is over. Like, what? You can't get anything back. You can't draw cards. You can get Grizzly Spectacle back to not die, and then we're going to get milled. Grizzly Spectacle was chosen and fired off, and we milled 2 lands. Still can't possibly win. Our guy's dead, and milled. Our guy's dead. So, yeah, so even if, another idea too is to, like, if I was a creature heavy mill build just like our opponent, I would definitely have the 1 March of the Returned main deck. Because what did we do? We just, like, we milled him a ton and we killed a lot of his creatures that all have awesome comes into play abilities. They all just win the game for him. Yeah, I don't know why we're playing this game. We just can't win. Yeah, we have 5 turns to deal 20 damage, okay. And, okay, we got milled out. Alright, let's talk about some sideboarding here. I like the creature package. So what cards are good? The Spy, the Cremace, the Dispels, the March, the Servant. I would bring in everything except for Feast of Dreams and Shrivel. I would definitely take out all 4 of the Freaker's Cures. They don't kill anything except for Arcane-Lancer, and we don't really care. We want to be Essence Scattering Arcane-Lancer. Essence Scatter is insanely good against him. What else can we cut? I wanted to bring in all but 6. I wanted to bring in 9 cards. Jeez. What are our 9 worst cards? I think we don't really need the Scryfish. Alright, 4 of Curs, and then 5 more. Let me Devour Flesh. Yeah, I cut. We don't need Devour Flesh because to kill very many of those things. I cut the 4 Cures, the 4 Devour Flesh, and 1 Starfish. So, hold on, what did we even bring in? Okay, did bring in the Dispels. What else did we bring in? Anything else? Bueller? Anything? Well, This hand looks fine. We are severely under outclassed in this matchup with that sideboard. We didn't even bring the crewmate. We can't even interact with his arcane answers. If we have to Essence Scatter them now. What's he going to do to us? He's going to be milling us. All of his creatures mill us. How do you not like that? See, we gotta make our sideboarding strategy more known so we're on the same wavelength. Because I'm sure, like, Brennan's obviously a fine player. Just doesn't see why I have that card in, but like March of the Returned is just so good. He's actively milling us. We're going to get multiple creatures back. All of his removal spells or counter spells are 1-for-1s. So March of the Returned is like the one card that lets us 2-for-1 him. And then it goes infinite with Arcane, so we just go back and forth. Okay. Skyfish is actually really nice to have going in the beginning of the game, so it does block his 2/4, so it does have some added value. So that's the thing, I would not plan on dying to damage to this guy ever. He can mill us so much more than we can mill him if his creatures resolve. That it's a problem. Yeah, I think keeping that on top is good. So, yeah, this is interesting. This is a perfect spot where I think Brennan's style is good. Like, he has shown that he likes, holding counter spells open more than, like, Pilfer Planning. But in that spot right there, what are you going to do? You Pilfer Plans or you Balustrade Spy, and he counters it, and then he gets to resolve, like, Arcane Answer, whatever he wants, any creature. So I like his ability decision to not be the first to blink right there. So I think he has Psychic Strike in hand, but if I'm the opponent, negate, that's... Ugh. So when we lose our 2-for-1s, yikes, that's not good. I think if I was the opponent and I had Psychic Strike instead of negate, I think I would use it there. Because now, the 49 tied right now in cards in library is not what we care about. We care about that cards in hand. I'm typically just trying to be ahead on cards in hand in this mid-early game. And a great way to do it is to always make your land drops, but if you don't make a land drop, just say go. Because you guaranteed you just went up one card in hand. And if our opponent decides to ever tap out, we're going to get him. Dang. Look at that, negate. Negate is pretty good. I don't have negate in my sideboard. I have 2 dispels. Oh, now we have counter. And our opponent has left 1 mana open multiple turns in a row. But that was an opening to let our Balustrade Spy hit play. It's probably fine that we didn't, but I don't know, I might have done it. Because we know we're slipping it in under counter magic. And our opponent, probably should have boarded out. A lot more removal. Alright, let's go with that. Dispel. Yeah, he does have it. Alright. It was likely he had the spell because he kept holding that 1 minute. Okay. This just boggles my mind. What is going on? Oh yeah, and this match like goes to time almost. It has to. Not necessarily. It's got 34 minutes left. And the video has... Yeah. 34 minutes. Ish. Which is really interesting because we're actually behind on the clock. It's actually really close. It's kind of negligible, but... It makes me just think about that right now because I don't know what we're tanking on. Our opponent is tapped out, and we are going to cast Arcane Lancer. Like, you just have to do it. You have to get back over plans. Balustrade Spy? Really? Alright, this is just bad value. Our opponent just needs one removal spell. Yeah, we only mill him for one. Again, we don't care about milling him necessarily. I think, well, again, our deck isn't set up the way I want it to be set up. I want it to be super creature based and killing him with damage. Like, once we exhaust his Devour Fleshes and have a lot of creatures in play, like Servant of Dimir just attacks every turn and extorts for 1 every turn. You just can't beat that. So right now, Read the Bones, very, very good. He's getting ahead on cards. Scribe both to the top, and then played a land immediately after. Usually that means he kept that land on top. And a spot like where our opponent's at, where like we're both stuck on 5 lands and we need to hit the 6th to start getting ahead. Depends what's on top, but I'll usually, if there's 2 lands on top, I'll scry at least 1 at the bottom, obviously, but if there's 2 lands on top, I'll sometimes scry them both to the bottom and be like, hey, it's just a dead draw after I draw the first one, so, you know, and you're not dead by missing the land drop. You already have 5 in play, so. Right, that Dispel was actually really huge. Because without it, like, we're just dead if this card doesn't resolve, really. I feel like, see that now this is the mid part of the game where we both tap out. So we tap out, he tries to stop us. We get our guy through. What? We got back Psychic Strike? Dude. We're down 6 cards to 4. And we're tapped out, so we can't even cast it. Like, oh, if he has Arcane Lancer, okay, go for Bones. That's like bad, but not the worst. And those 2 lands. He plays another land, okay, so we're getting really far behind in the land. Count by 2. See, like kind of like my Read with the Bones scenario there was, you see 2 lands on top, you know, ship them both. We'll see more on the next card's land anyway, so. Chris is right to go. What? Cloak Siren? That's not even good. Actually, I mean, I think it's a fine card, just not in this deck. First off, What? Why would you Devour Flash it? I guess that holds open Psychic Strike. But it doesn't hold open Psychic Strike and Essence Scatter. So I'm pretty sure I would have Grizzly Spectacled it and then held open Essence Scatter. Because right now, you're actually only holding open... Nah, you're holding open Grizzly Spectacle here too, but you're definitely not casting it. Because if he's playing a creature, it's going to have a comes into play ability, and you're going to counter it. Jeez. Our opponent is just getting really unlucky or something. He's up 7 cards to 3. Hopefully... I'm guessing if this... Well, yeah, if this video goes to time, we have to win this game. Seems like our opponent's drawing a lot of lands. We probably just attack him. We're actually ahead 5 cards on library too. Because he read the bones himself, and he got hit with Psychic Strike. So this is what I mean. Even with a really suboptimal sideboard job of like a couple of creatures still in the deck, you know, I guess we brought in, we brought in the 3rd Spy too, which is good. I like that. You can see, like, look, we can deal more damage to him than us. To him than he can deal to us, and we're just not going to get milled out if we have more cards in him and can control his creatures. Because even if he can get ahead on us in terms of, you know, cards in library, we should be ahead on cards and ahead on board. Maybe we can draw more spells. See, we're still in that same spot. I think you scatter and it gets countered. You're okay with getting your scatter countered. You really don't want your Psychic Strike to get countered. That, again, you never know. Like, you want to be ahead on the cards in library race. Because if you're not, then that's a very likely way that we can lose. Yep. So again, some of my rationale here for, again, why did we get Psychic Strike back with that Arcane Lancer a couple of turns ago? Couldn't cast it that turn. And now we're down. Well, I guess we're only down 3 cards to 2. But we could be way ahead on cards. And it's basically because our opponent has gotten kind of unlucky and just drawn a lot of lands. He's up to 9. Keeping it on top. You still can't do 2 things in 1 turn, which is, oh man. Missing that attack is actually really bad. I think you just Grizzly Spectacle his guy. I don't know. I don't know what his plan is. Because now what? Now, I guess we have double strike open, which would be sweet if we could use them both this turn. And then Spectacle his guy and just start crashing him. But like, if our opponent does nothing, or just plays like draw 2 cards spell, jeez, like this is a must counter. Actually, we're going to be fine here. He is likely going to counter back, and then we can counter back. But again, see, okay, we're lucky. Mills, 2 lands, okay. Oh, he just has a second one. Oh. Yeah, I mean, okay. Because our opponent tapped out into our double counters with 6 mana open, we're fine. And he doesn't have Dispel because he didn't counter either of those. So we can main phase. We'll scry. Then we should very likely kill his guy and bash for 2. That is keepable, yes. So we can at least do 2 things in one turn. I would kill his guy and attack. Oh, I think he realized it now. And we'll do it before blockers. Okay, good. Yeah, it's sort of lucky. There's no way we can really get punished there. There's no way our opponent is playing like Mizium Skin or Dunavarabos or anything ridiculous. He's got the play right back at us. And look, we're ahead 6 cards in library, but we're down a card in hand. But the Scryfish, man. Oh, that's good. Alright, you have to cast it and just hope. You know he doesn't have Dispel, but you know what? He probably has Negate. Oh, I hope this resolves. Okay. Who knows? Ooh, Duress. Voyage's End, Cloak Siren. I don't know about you, but does it feel good to resolve Thassa's Bounty? I'm not sure. I haven't quite, made a final determination yet. We might have to cast it one more time to see how it feels, just to make sure. Bottom. That is... It is really interesting, though, that he boarded in a creature, Cloak Siren, that actually dies to Freakish Gear. Okay, I like this better than Thassa's Bounty. He's probably not even countered yet. He has to use a spell to counter either Pants or a Bounty, so I kind of like that. Plains is just basically, baiting the negate out. Read the bones. See, what did I say? I said I'd take out 4 Devour Flesh, and I would take out 4 Freakish Care. It's going to duress our bounty. That's really bad. And 1 Starfish. We don't need, Starfish is good, obviously very good, but 2 or 3 is not a big deal. And what would we be drawing into? Just mono creatures. Look at, our opponent's almost dead, and we have no extra creatures, no extra pressure. So I think in this matchup, we're kind of like an aggro control deck. Or we're the aggro control role, in that we want our creatures to be on the board and protected. And to get to that point, we just need to counter his, kill his, don't let him get any, and draw cards whenever we can in the early game. It seems like a lot of his spells, other than Read the Bones and Pilfer Plans, are just a lot of 1-for-1s. So it's just really important, just when you time your spells and sequence things. You have to play Pilfer Plans and Thassa's Bounty at the first chance possible, especially if your opponent's tapped out. Have you ever gotten Thassa's Bounty back with Archaeomancer? Because I know in the Bug Defenders deck, that plays, 4. Jeez, how many Duresses do this? Okay, Duress is not even that good. He's going to take the scatter, but the rest is a card like you're at best 1-for-1-ing. Sometimes you completely brick. Again, another reason why putting more creatures in our deck is relevant. Because, like, even with Balustrad's Fire, like, let's say this Devour Flesh is Servant of Dimir, and it just gets into play. If he attacks us, we take 2, well, he takes 1, and then he takes 2, because we'll gain the life back, which effectively makes this creature like a 1-power creature. So he takes 2, we take 1. He actually can't attack Spy versus Dimir in this spot if they're like, the only creatures in play. Jeez. Yeah, I think I messed up with my build. I think 1 Voyage's End is good. Just that extra scry. So much value. Not really sure what he could be tanking on, but this is probably why, I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. He's just losing the game. If you check the time again, we're at like 10.5 minutes. He's like under 9, so somehow he's been wasting a bunch of time, even though we've been the ones scrying every single turn. Yeah, Starfish is great at this stage of the game. See, here, that's twice now, Brennan. Why in the world would you choose to play an on-tap land over a Guild Gate? It's not that relevant, except when it is. Like, let's say opponent doesn't have counter spells left in his hand, and we draw any card draw spell, Pilfered Plans, or Bassus Bounty. All of a sudden, the land drop that we have in hand is no use on our next turn, whereas the untapped land that you wasted last turn, does not get put to use. And so we're basically just stone rained ourselves for a very, very potentially important turn. That's just a small example of technical play that we just don't have an excuse to. Yeah, Arcanomancer, another perfect example. What can you get back here? Oh, look. If it was me, and Arcanomancer doesn't get countered, I would be casting Bassus Bounty this turn. Our opponent has 11 cards in library, we have 12. He cannot kill us. My guessing is you're going to get Psychic Strike back. What are you doing? I definitely do not agree with that. He even has the negate. So, if you assume he has negate, Psychic Strike is easily the best target. Because, we're not going to die to this 2-3. I could draw other creatures though, but I think I still would have Bassus Bountied, probably gotten it countered, so yeah, I guess it's moot. If you choose any other thing other than well, I guess you could have chosen Pilfered Plans and got it too. You got to play it last turn and potentially resolve it. Yeah. Well, see. You are just lucky and rewarded. Yeah. But like, see, resolving Thassa's bounties is so good here. We have added value in that we know the bottom cards of our deck are where, you know, our crap is at. All our poopy cards that we don't want. They're on the bottom. You know. So we know when he's got 9 left and we've got 11 left, we are drawing pretty live because the bottom of our deck is like full of stuff we didn't want earlier, which was like a bunch of lands, and like there's a Devoured Flesh in there. If this doesn't resolve, we are effed. Oh my gosh, okay. We basically just won right there. Ooh, that was a huge nail too. So now we can't get back Arcane Answer. That's pretty nice. And he can't attack, see? Yeah, okay. We won this game. He should be scooping. Where's the spence going? I got it. Another thing that I do, like, when I'm looking at my deck, I'll pile my sideboard cards by name, but I will never pile my main deck by name. You have to scroll left and right, and it looks really weird. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I need to... Hopefully, Brennan watches this video and just realizes how good the creature sideboard plan is. This hand's really good. It's actually, I mean, Pilfered Plans would be exactly what we want, but yeah, not utilizing that creature package is a little, you know, maybe hard to see as a sideboard plan, but I definitely approve of at least getting those cremates in there that can really change this game. I think I would have left one Freakus Cure in the deck, though. Because it is very possible, especially when our opponent keeps a triple island hand and hasn't played a spell, that he has cards like Cloaked Siren. And how do we beat it if he plays it main phase right now? Oh, we're lucky. Because like that little bit of incidental life gain is pretty good. What? Pump fake on the Essence Scatters. Love to pump fake. Yeah, see? So I would have thought about that. I only think bomb that. I only think you need... Okay. See, Spy's a good answer for it too, but not really. Because now we're tapped out. Our opponent can... If he wasn't, you know, kind of mana screwed here, negate the spell swamp. That's pretty good. It's just good to have him not have those cards in hand. He can get them back with maybe Arcane Answer this turn, but like if he doesn't go like Swamp, Grizzly Spectacle, and start bashing, you know, we're okay. If I was saying that, probably Arcane Answer, Perfect Plans, Big Bones. He needs to play faster. He's way behind on time and like is taking forever to do like simple things. It's turn like 5. This is like not the complicated part of the game. Another Starfish, okay. We're looking pretty good right now. Just on board, you're trading 3 for 2. And the only way you possibly lose is if he like plays like more flying creatures that we can't block. If we just play like a flying creature for the next like every turn. You can't counter this. He would counter back if I can do it. Okay, so now when he tries, yeah. Well, left totals are 17, 18. For no reason. They should be 20 to 20. Let's draw 2 cards. Nice. Okay, we learned our lesson. We took our 3, and that is all we will take. He's not gonna like void his end our guy. However he plans on killing us, he needs to like not tank about it for like 50 seconds. Yeah. We have strike and dispel. Yeah. This is actually, There's some merit to striking right there because it uses more of your mana, but I'm fine with dispel there since dispel only has a small number of targets. Again, this is another spot where you have to Thassa's Bounty, in my opinion. You do not attack. You Thassa's Bounty. Hope. Like, look, we're down 6 to 2. Like, forget that we're way ahead on time and this guy can't possibly kill us, but we're down 6 to 2 in cards in hand against the known counterspell deck. So we're gonna just hold open our counterspell. Like, for what? Like, we play Thassa's Bounty next turn, you know. Draw 3 cards, so we'll still have Fireflesh in hand, so we'll have like Fireflesh, Psychic Strike, plus a 3 draw, we'll have 5 cards in hand. What is he gonna do there? The answer is, nothing relevant, nothing we can't handle. But what we can't handle is anything. And we have, just one card in here. Like, if you just had creature plus counterspell, Psychic Strike just does nothing. But somehow our opponent probably just has a bunch of just counterspells in hand. And you're kind of seeing Skyfish just take over this game. It's kind of awkward though. Like, we ship like all these lands to the bottom, but then we can't actually play our spells because we can't do 2 things in one turn. Siren? Yeah, Siren with counterspell backup. I don't know why our opponent does it at that, yeah. I was going to say, I don't know why our opponent would do it at that time, because he shouldn't block, he should end of turn it and then start attacking us. There's, we couldn't have known about that one, so it's fine for us to take it this time, but it should be 18 to 17 right now instead. Ooh, this is weird. If he has the counter, we're in a bad spot. Yep. What does he look like? Second strike. This game's actually really interesting. Our opponent has his time, he literally whittled away all of his time doing I do not know what. It didn't even seem like he was playing that slow or whatever, but it was just a couple of turns. And it must have just tanked because we were even on time most of the game, and then 2 and 3 just really bad up on his part. So seems kind of obvious that we're gonna win now. What? Just in case our opponent, if our opponent has like Cloak, Siren, Grizzly Spectacle, think about that attack. I guess it doesn't matter since our guy would just die and be blocking anyway, but if he doesn't have Grizzly Spectacle, and he just has like double Cloak, Siren, well, what? Oh my gosh. What is our opponent doing? Right, imagine there was no time there. Our opponent should have definitely attacked. Or no like time limit. Okay. This game's over. We locked it up, and it doesn't even matter what we do now. Just it's one thing that I don't like actually about these timed matches necessarily, or even time in the round when you're playing in real life. Like at least Moto has a clock so that you can cast, or you can control yourself. And it's kind of like saying slow play warnings, in real life are like they just lose the game, and you don't need to call judge on slow play for them. It's like they play slow, they're going to lose to the timer. But overall, the deck looked good, and we won, which is awesome. Good job, Brennan. Really simple recap. The two main things that I'd like to see are, the creature package and the recursion package coming in against the deck that is trying to mill us actively and has removal spells for our creatures, and then we just go off and keep playing more and beat it. We're killing him by attacking pretty much. If time was not a factor. And I think the second thing is, probably the most important thing is to play cards that say draw a card on it as soon as possible, especially when the opponent's tapped out, so that so that you're ahead on cards, so that you have more options and more things to do. It's really kind of weird actually to play the mirror here. I definitely did not expect many mirror matches in this gauntlet. I made my deck, I thought, worse in general too against the mirror, since I kind of liked what our opponent's deck was doing with the Return Centaurs and Balustrade Spies. He just needed to not have cards like Cloak Siren. They don't really do much. He just needed to have more Voyage's Ends to counter our removal spells. March of the Returned is just insane in his deck too. He just cycles through all those creatures and just mills us over and over again, and we don't have infinite essence scatters and whatnot. So overall, I feel pretty fortunate and lucky that we survived round 5, but we will live on to face the next round, which is sweet. If you guys got any comments or anything, I still, it's not even a cough, or cold, but still have the cough a little bit. Just talking for over an hour, I think, is taxing on the throat. My fan is still freaky. Still don't have my new headset in. The sound might be a little bit different though. This is just using like my iPhone microphone headset. So I'm kind of interested to see how it turns out in terms of sound quality, because it definitely needs to be improved. So I'm working on that. Alright, but thanks for watching, guys. Take care.